Thank you so much. So on that note, we want to hear from the African continent, the AfriGeo. Kenneth, are you around? Can you share your slides and take us through?
Thank you, colleagues. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you. It's a blessing. It's amazing to join the voices that have spoken before me. I think it's critical that we look forward to having a society that is well equipped, even as we think through the Africa Space Council and the policies that are going to put in place through the Africa Space Agency. I think it will be interesting, and we're looking forward to being part and parcel of that as youth. So I just want to echo what my colleague Ernest, Steve, been mentioning in regards to the innovation bit of things that are all over the continent. Before I go to that, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Kenneth Kasera. I serve as the POC, the point of contact for AfriGeo, and I also serve as the Youth Engagement Manager at the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development that is based in Nairobi. So it's always a pleasure for us to look at our youth and the participation in the field of geo. So if we look today, if we look at Africa, we are speaking of 1.4 billion people plus. And this comes along with several challenges and several unique aspects that are interesting to even mention. Different cultures, different ways of thinking, different ways of doing things, different governments, different boundaries, and even different accents. And that comes with several facets to it. And we always try to look at the good side of it, a continent where each and every country that you can mention, there is always a bit of it that has war. So it's really interesting how we look at some of these things. And just to even dig deeper into the demographics, if we, within the 1.4 billion people that we have, the youth are the majority. And so we are really expecting the youth of Africa to come out and take their rightful position in terms of innovation. Africa is a blessed continent with several amazing resources in the various countries. And one thing that normally amazes me is possibly when it comes to implementing some of these aspects that should benefit Africa, we always get it wrong. So I think the young people in this meeting today, it's upon us to be able to look ahead and really review. We are not saying that everything is bad, but what we are saying is that can we review what's working, and can we also look at sharing what is good in one country, what they are what they are really doing well, and if that can be implemented as well in another country, then that technical exchange should be something that we are willing to look into. So from that angle, AfriGeo is focused on capacity building. AfriGeo is focused on technical exchanges that bring this expertise together. AfriGeo is focused on providing insights through the flagships and the initiatives that are made possible through GEO to provide insights in agriculture, insights in weather, insights in land administration, forest management, insights in biodiversity, and lastly, insights in disaster risk reduction. I think if we look around, a few weeks ago, several urban in Africa were flooded, live along the eastern part of Africa, all the way to Dubai, possibly areas outside the continent that we don't expect flooding. It's upon us young people to look at how do we put in place structures and systems that can accommodate such kind of stream events. It was interesting to see a city like Nairobi flooded, and a total of 331 people dead just because of floods. So I really want to encourage our young people today that even as we focus on the systems that we have in place, can we make sure that they're somehow impact-based focused? So we encourage us to move away from the information that we have and make sense out of it, and go to a level where we are able to look at the impact and how do we mitigate this in the possible impacts. Some of them are natural phenomena, natural events that we cannot be able to control, but I believe we have the way of reducing the impact of some of these. So as an African continent, as a body that looks into presenting Africa in geo, we are looking forward to working with several African countries who are members already. And we have 31 so far. And Africa as a continent, we have 54 countries. So we are asking ourselves that the countries that are lagging behind in terms of utilization of Earth observation, it's time that we join hands and we have all the 54 countries joining. I'm happy to know that there are several, like here, Ghana is here, Nigeria, and several colleagues from South Africa who are really pushing the angle of national geos, because this feeds into the AfriGeo and the AfriGeo feeds into geo. So we're really critical and we're keen in looking at how do we make sure that our voices in terms of utilization of Earth observation information is the best it can be. And I'm happy already that that Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, Egypt, we are in the process of putting up a satellite that can help us to cover Africa with the highest possible resolution and also the revisit time that will be critical for some of the areas that we are looking into. So can Africa feed itself? Yes. Can Africa stand on itself? Yes. Can Africa be able to support other continents the way they've been supporting it? Yes. But the answer lies in how do we want to do it. So, Chair, allow me to end it there and throw this back over to you guys so that we can discuss ways in which Africa can be able to benefit and Africa can also be able to support. I think it's time for us to support other continents as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So it is time for young Africans to know that, just as Barbara said, everything is connected. We must not always sit and think that we should be receiving, but we must know that we can also contribute to the sustainability of our world, our planet, our one planet. So on that note, food on the table is important. Food security is critical, and especially in Africa, that more than half of the population is dependent on agriculture. This is